So I think I'm onto something. I was writing in my journal. Now I'm not going to write in my journal because I can't read my handwriting after I read it because my brain's going faster than the words. And I just started doing that, and I decided I'm just going to document. To document my innate interests, like as a kid, what I would gravitate towards, games I like to play, people I like to be around. Like from collecting stickers, like why? You know, studying art, anthropology, always starting to see patterns, the lens, the lesson. I think that that's kind of what I should do, is document like what was the interest, like what's innate. They're all eyes. Innate interests, then pattern, the lens that I see the pattern, like, you know, I'm wearing tie-dye, am I hippy-dippy, I didn't do my hair, I'm mildly overweight, like whatever you look at, whatever the pattern that I can connect to, relate to, and see in people. How does that come across in lived experience? What do I understand about it? What's the philosophy? Because my ideas change and evolve, and the more I see and observe. When it becomes more complex, it becomes more similar at the same time. The we all are one. Why do I believe that? What's the pattern? What's the lens? What's the lesson? Why do I understand that? And what's the philosophy? How can that change? Then the future lens could see, it's like what I learned in anthropology. They don't dig up the entire site. They save part of the site for later times because they know that they'll have more technology. And if it's still in the ground, they can get more information. Like, we know that we will evolve naturally. Like, this is inherent, right? We're talking about evolution even in anthropology. But anyway. So the future lens can see what we thought, how we felt, but not from a lens where we expect to be observed, where we don't actually try to match the algorithm. We just put our own documented experience out there for future culture and people to understand about this time, because I do believe that the time is important. I will say that I've always been interested in astrology. That's part of the art, astrology, anthropology, patterns. That's what that was. The planets, the moon, the sun, the stars, all that stuff always interested me. So I could see if like people started to use astrology again, more like they are on TikTok and stuff like that, that future people or random people or the people interested could see how the pattern lives. Because I could say, oh, these are the transits for now. Very few people would be interested in that, the astrologer, but the ultimate pattern, person looking for the pattern, just to have the daily life a little bit attached to some of these planetary alignments to just show how energy works in that way. Just the basic how energy works and can be read as a cosmology that's reflected in all the religions and all the ways, and how I've learned about that and expressed it through art over my years. So this is a field journal. I don't know, I might come up with something crazy, something crafty, something individual. I think anthropologist, but then I don't know if I'm defending what? The right to change, the right to become. I don't know. I'm not gonna, I think the important thing, the reason why I haven't done this, is because I've tried to I get stuck in how I think other people will see me and make judgments that I honestly don't even feel like fucking care about, but then also put up heavily resistant things for me. People that know me may or may not even think that I would be that way. But the reason I'm not going to edit, and the reason that this isn't going to be interesting for a lot of people, is because I don't speak in straight lines. I speak and think in spirals. I think in the nautilus, like basically if I mask my authenticity, then the reality and understanding of where the pattern really is without distortion is blocked. And now is the time to understand and become your identity. Like astrology wise, absolutely. People are re-identifying all the time. They're afraid. I signed up for this class that they're doing at the movie theater, and it's like for people above 50, and it's like about retirement and transition. And I thought for my business, I'm like, oh, I should go to that. And I look to hear what people say, because I don't read about it as much anymore. I just live my experience. Like I spent a lot of time looking for like credential, fully knowing that if you know me, then you know that I'm going to like I just want to be additive. I want to be additive. I want to be mutual reciprocity, sharing, having fun, being open, identity. Those are all things that are interested in me, and I just don't want to show that and have it be judged, because I don't want to put that energy, like I don't want to be a catalyst for that energy, because I understand that I'm a catalyst. And I understand a lot of patterns about me. I understand that I am a pattern of the time. I'll talk about that. It sounds like woo-woo shit, but it's so fucking true, and it creates such like calm for me to know that I'm not supposed to understand, but there are little things that I can still learn and grow through that are like powerful and creative and fun. And so I understand that the lens that we look at is really important. Like how much the news, all that shit. I don't know. I guess I am. I'm supposed to document what's out in the world, because I'm not speaking to the world. I'm speaking to my experience. So yes, out in the world to document. It's also documenting, but there are few, and maybe more, people like me that just want to document their experience. I am doing it from like a ethnographer, anthropologist. Like, look at this pattern making. I have really fucking cool shit in my astrology chart. I have a reflector aura in human design, and there's all these kind of fringe woo-woo things, but I didn't need to get that information to understand that I was a unicorn, and not in the unicorn thing about being a swinger, because I said that in the wrong place at some point, but a unicorn and being just rare. And rare can be lonely, and it can be magical, and it can be all kinds of things. And I just want to say my experience of it, because not all unicorns are Aries. Not all unicorns are 52. And not all unicorns have a chance to tell people in the past, like, why or why not anything I did about how I lived my life was an epic failure or epic, like, win. To not follow the rules, to wish you could, to be incapable of it, to just have to do my own thing. And today is the day that I'm doing my own thing, regardless, and not even cared about what I look like or what I sound like or anything, just to document the human experience of this time through this lens, so that either I or others can go back and look at certain patterns, whether it be the astrology or some other woo-woo thing or something in news. I think astrology would be cool. You know, like if you were going to unearth American culture like you would past civilizations in the ground. And of course, astrology, I'm a fire and an air sign everywhere. That would be something that I would think, you know? And so when you learn, or when now that I'm learning how to live my design and my energy type, I can go back and look at the patterns and see what part of astrology fits, and like how much of it is choice and free will and just patterns. Apparently, I mean, not apparently, like, so, well, I always feel like I'm learning something new, but it's like I'm understanding more and more and more how much my brain thinks in relationships. Is in design, like this belongs here, it has to be smaller, larger, change the color to make it the visual weight. And, you know, I'm like all about light. I think lighting is one of the most important things in design and in healing and all kinds of things, science, like it's huge. And I am a moon. As a reflector, I am a moon. So I reflect that light naturally. As a reflector, I celebrate. I love dancing and disco balls. I've seen live music my whole life. So anyway, I'm going to start documenting what I think and believe or witness from my experiences, so that either my son, Kaylin, you can come back and look at this, or a future anthropologist, or no one's ever going to see it, because I'm not going to put tags and I'm not going to put, you know, stuff here at this point. Something may change my mind. That's one thing. I'm open to change. But like right now, this isn't about being found by an algorithm. This is about being found by me in a context and language that is more complete than writing in my journal words that I can't read later, and actually committing to the pattern, committing to the lens, the length, the willingness, the to see whether I actually can change what I believe, or whether some fucking algorithm is doing it. Let's see if the unicorn is a mirrored algorithm or the exact one. You know, like, what if I can be found by never tagging or putting it in some obscure place under some obscure name? Will I show up? Do I care? Do I want it? Or am I just, this is going to be the first of a dinosaur bone that you find it on that day, and it takes years to excavate and understand, you know, the rhythm of the mundane. But times are funky. There happens to be this really crazy shit in astrology right now. They call it Breitbart-esque, and it's hitting stuff in my chart. It speaks to exactly what I'm speaking about. I've all these synchronicities all of the time. I have channels to things that I've ignored or only speak to sometime, or just stay in wonder or fear rather than like engagement and try. And you know, also like, what if there is a witness? Would I change what I'm saying right now if I thought that it could go viral, which could get me in trouble, or it could land me the most amazing love or another opportunity? Like, all the what if, embracing the what if. What else did I write? More Oh, one of the patterns or things I'd like to talk about on one of these days, maybe I'll just keep them to like 15-20 minutes, but I want to talk about, I have a little bit of a soapbox about speaking to my aunt's astrologer, and she was talking about my generation. A certain group of us have shared this planet in some place for a while, and it talks about the impact of music on culture, and it mirrors the one of the 60s, and we're about to go into it, and I see all kinds of stuff in that, like a generational thing, like what our parents believed about music and what Gen Xers kind of hold, and how this new generation of young kids, they're creating this music and they're like defying authority, and I don't know, I just love the patterns, and I just want to call note to them. And I feel like Kaylin, you don't give a shit about astrology. I'm gonna talk about it because that's how I can see something, and maybe one day you can go back and look at it, or God forbid, be in a moment right similar and go, what's the pattern? What do I do? How do I behave? How do I ground? How do I see? And just use it and notice as a tool to notice and bring you back to yourself, the moment you were born. So you don't have to be into astrology because I'm into astrology. You just have to see that I have connected the pattern of my life and my interests and my friends and my way of being to the planets. And it is fucking hocus pocus. It is, because hocus pocus is a spell, it's a wish. And mine isn't yours and yours isn't mine, but we all have one. And that's the universal thing. So it's a documentation of becoming through a crazy time, and being told that I'm a mirror and seeing if it's true, showing evidence, building a philosophy, learning, documenting, and staying true while doing my regular job, which is to help people in transition who are becoming something different through, you know, it could be divorce and remarriage. I helped someone with that, like getting their home to be right. It could be moving in and becoming a caregiver to a parent after retirement. Who are you after retirement? I'm gonna go find out in this meeting thing. Somebody who's can't live in their home and take care of it and have to move in with that's actually the opposite. So instead of the child moving in with the parent, this is a parent moving in with children, and they're choosing the home together and building it and creating space together. And I'm going to help the parent downsize. She's an artist, craft maker, like, oh my gosh, patterns. I did a speech at some Carrie Arts thing, and I'd forgotten about it until I went to meet my aunt, and she'd forgotten that I was coming, and she was meeting with this woman, and I was like, oh, I'll just meet your friend. And they're just like, you introduced us. And I was like, what? And apparently after that art thing that I forgot what I even talked about, I should ask her, it'd be funny and do a thing on it. But say she was just moving to the area, and she's moving to Beaufort, or someone was moving to Beaufort, and my aunt had just moved to Beaufort, and they were both artists, and I was like, oh, you should look her up, she's a book artist, and blah blah blah. And apparently they did, and they were like, oh yeah, I met that girl. Well, they ended up being friends for 20 years. This is 20 years ago. And I met her again 2 years ago in this coffee, having lunch, intruding on a lunch that was supposed to be for me, but was this woman. and learning that I had connected them and how they'd be friends ever since. And she's in this stage and I'm building this business, and we talked briefly about it, but I don't know. I needed some things taken to Anita a couple weeks ago, and she responded on something on Facebook, and I responded back, and I was like, hey, would you mind bringing these things to Anita? And she was like, sure. And then we had lunch, and it was amazing, and she's wonderful and cool and awesome, and I might do work for her. And so I can bring all of these experiences from my grandma and helping people in transition and different points of their lives. Who are we becoming? And that's what I want to share. I want to share mostly to Kaylin who I am. My parents passed when I was young. If I could watch a 20-minute video of my mom speaking to me and her own life and where she was at, just for a fucking moment of time, it would be the biggest gift. The fact that I could try to do this for a short period of time, every few days, or when something compels me, I need to have discipline with it. Like a journal, field notes. That's what it's going to become. I might get creative. I might brand it for fun. I might share it with a couple friends, certain things. I don't know. This is just the first one. And I've already gone over 21:55. That's 22. I gotta go. I gotta get this down to 20 minutes. That'll be the discipline. Let's see if I can do that.